Là, vous devrez m'entendre, là.
Allegedly, they did this only until it was no longer socially acceptable. Right up until the late 19th century, you guys, right before we get into this Trogneux family. It's just amazing. Then they said, no more, no more. And what's interesting in this book is that Natalie Livingston documents that the reason for this is the original Rothschild, Mayor Amschel Rothschild's will. She says, quote, it goes back to that will. In it, Mayor Amschel Rothschild said that nothing was more important than the family, and that meant at any cost. It was about...
Mais avant, c'est vrai, vraiment, il n'y avait pas de son. Oh putain, parce qu'elle avait montré l'interview d'une dame qui disait que le vice c'est bien, mais l'inceste est meilleur.
Preserving the unity of the bank and the integrity of the name. There's no question endogamy can't have been great. For example, there's an enormous amount of mental health issues that ran in the family. I can't believe there's not a correlation between endogamous matches and the issues of mental health. She then even discusses how that mentality within the family was so strong that they believe that any woman who stepped outside of the family in terms of who she married was cursed. Like, you are cursed because you did not marry your cousin, brother, uncle, whatever it is. So of course your brain wanders and you begin to think naturally in this story, why did David de Rothschild pluck up Macron? A guy who his colleagues said...
Tu t'imagines Valmont quand même je sais pas de quelle origine tu es, enfin je sais de quelle origine tu es, mais nous en Afrique, les parents, je pense qu'on pensait qu'ils nous respectaient pas, ils nous respectent mieux. Bah, quand on fait une bêtise, ils nous frappent avec la ceinture, tu vois, ils nous donnent des claques et tout ça, ils se défoulent sur nous. Alors qu'en Europe, pour éduquer l'enfant, ils vont jusqu'à lui faire l'amour. Ils vont lui faire l'amour par le derrière pour qu'il écoute. C'est juste pour qu'il écoute ou c'est juste pour prendre du plaisir? C'est trop bizarre. C'est trop bizarre. Ou c'est le froid qui fait ça, je sais pas.
Know what Épilogue was, and yet David Rothschild moved to make him the youngest managing partner in the bank's history. Okay.
Ah ouais.
A bank's goal is to make.
Non, il y a eu une inceste à 3. Hein. Il y a eu une inceste à 3.
Child, you care about making profit, of course. If you care, especially in a maniacal sense, about.
There are the incest inferred.
That your power is not lost in the world. The last thing you're going to do is pluck up some obscure guy who knows nothing and pull him through the ranks. You would only step outside of that obvious goal of wanting the bank to make money if there was something more important to money, and that would be power, right? And you would only do that if nepotism was going on, in my view. You're like, I'm pulling you through the ranks because you are related to me. And what matters more to me is that this bank and whatever it is that you do maintains within the family. You give someone a job not because they're qualified in that sense, but because they are your family member, right? How and why did David de Rothschild get so close?
David de Rothschild was here. There was made a incest at Macron inferred.
Doctors and the Trogneux family of chocolatiers, right? How? What I can tell you, and again, we are now being purely speculative, is that my instinct, my personal instinct, has always been that if you were going to inbreed, a father-son relationship might actually be too close. I always felt that if it took place, we would be looking for an uncle. I feel like that's just like a standard story, like an uncle molesting a child feels like that's what my brain instantly does, what my brain instantly searches for. And it turns out, you guys, you are not going to believe me, but this pattern of similar names in every family and the family members also extends to the Macron family. Remember, there are no photos known to date of Emmanuel Macron with his parents growing up. That is insane, okay? We do know that his father, the person that they tell us is his father, his name is, of course, Jean-Michel Macron. But there's another Jean-Michel that we haven't mentioned yet, and he's perhaps the most important one. Uncle Jean-Michel Nogues. Now let's add him to the Emmanuel family tree so you guys can get a visual here, okay? So his dad is
Donc
Jean-Michel.
voilà, là she showed genealogic tree. Jean-Michel Nogues, German. It is the grandparents about Macron and the mother and the dad. Là, ils font l'arbre généalogique. Et là, je sais pas, peut-être la famille Nogues. Jean-Michel Nogues, Lucette Duponchet. Normal, quoi.
His mom is Françoise Nogues. Well, Françoise Nogues has a brother, and had a brother. As you can see, he died in 2006, and his name was Jean-Michel Nogues. Okay,
Ouh,
that was
Jean-Michel Trogneux, Jean-Michel Nogues. Ah ouais, c'est bizarre. Jean-Michel Macron. Eh, they are all of Freemasons. Oh là 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 là.
to me. Again, I'm going down the rabbit hole. I just want to identify who is
Oh là
who.
là. Où l'insiste et le vice perdure.
Is the brother of Dr. Françoise Nogues, the one who helps transgendered individuals get new IDs. Okay, amazing. And also, she said, as we pointed out, that to her, Brigitte is not a daughter-in-law. Huh? What is she to you? Okay, let's just keep going down this rabbit hole. Well, the funny thing is that Emmanuel Macron did not follow the normal course of Catholicism, okay? He was not baptized as a child. In fact, his parents are not religious. He chose himself to be baptized at the age of 12 while he was at the La Providence school. So 2 years before he met the love of his life, Brigitte, he decided to make a decision, which is, I mean, that's amazing. Right?
Alors, il y a des interdits qui vont contre l'ordre naturel. Et tous ceux qui franchissent les limites doivent être très très sévèrement punis. Mais déjà, niquer son enfant, quoi, comme la consanguinité à l'époque. À l'époque, tu avais des royaumes, c'était autorisé parce que voilà, il fallait sauver le... c'était l'honneur de la terre, c'était... Tu devais sauver un peuple entier. Tu vois, je sais pas si tu me comprends, tu devais sauver un peuple entier. Donc, c'est limite que les familles royaux se niquaient entre eux parce qu'il fallait sauver un peuple. Mais là, tu sauves personne, tu sauves juste ta dignité et la richesse et tu niques ton fils. Il y a un souci.
I say I want to be baptized.
There are some realms. Je vais foutre. There are some kingdom at the time in the past. They needs to save the empire. They need to save the empire because that's they grabbed children. It is the reason because they are the people in the kingdom. They are the people. Mais là, c'est pas le cas.
And that's a weird thing. I think it's a remarkable thing. Well, not a weird thing. A remarkable thing for a 12-year-old to do without parental guidance. What's interesting, and what we haven't mentioned before, is that he chose his uncle, Jean-Michel, to be his godfather when he got baptized. Okay? So baptisms are not supposed to be just like an act of vanity. I know today they've become them. I'm just going to pick a godfather or godmother, and actually I have no faith in God, no faith in religion. I just think it would be cool or whatever. That's kind of the modern interpretation. Now, this has significant spiritual meaning. This person is supposed to be selected to be the person to guide you spiritually throughout the rest of your life. If something were to happen to you, this is a person that your parents would entrust. If something were to happen to your parents, this is supposed to be an individual that your parents would entrust to guide you spiritually for the rest of your life. Emmanuel Macron picked Jean-Michel Nogues, his uncle, okay? I'm going to read this directly from Xavier Poussard's book. He wrote, quote, "A character in particular caught our attention. Emmanuel Macron's maternal uncle, Jean-Michel Nogues. He was important. Emmanuel Macron chose him as his godfather when he decided to be baptized. The role of the godmother obviously fell to Manette. Born on December 25th, 1940 in Nièvre, and died on October 6, 2006 in Amiens, Jean-Michel Nogues was not some general practitioner. He was a prominent member of the board of the Faculty of Medicine of Amiens, as indicated by his obituary published by his colleagues in Le Courrier Picard. Remember, that's the newspaper in Amiens. He was also the chairman of Domus Medica, a non-trading real estate company, bringing together numerous of local healthcare professional
Emmanuel Macron
organizations.
chose his uncle for what? Emmanuel Macron's maternal uncle, Jean-Michel Nogues, it was important. Emmanuel Macron chose him as his godfather when he decided to be baptized. Parce que c'est son oncle qui l'a baptisé. The role of the godmother, obviously, feel the manette. Toute la famille, t'as raison, un rideau de fumée. T'as raison.
Then he gets into these are just French for the council department, blah, blah, blah. So this was an important man. He's a huge figure. So I thought, surely this man, Uncle Jean-Michel, must be photographed somewhere. Maybe a photo of him and Emmanuel at the baptism day. Maybe at La Providence. I don't know. Maybe on Emmanuel Macron's wedding day to Brigitte. Surely we can find a photo of this guy within medical circles. Okay? And you're not going to believe this, guys. And of course you're going to believe it. First and foremost, he died in 2006, the year before Emmanuel Macron got married to the love of his whole entire life, Brigitte. And regarding photos, of course, Xavier Poussard attempted to secure them. He specifically went to the archives of the Faculty of Medicine, where Uncle Jean-Michel worked in Amiens and built up such a remarkable reputation for himself. And guess what? For whatever reason, they refused the request. So we don't have any photos of him. He died in 2006. And we don't have any photos from him from when he was alive and was clearly very active in Emmanuel's life. And I don't know why Emmanuel didn't dedicate an entire chapter to him, his uncle, who he was so close to spiritually, his leader. You know, that's not something you just forget, right? The person who you believe is going to spiritually guide you throughout the rest of your life. You know, you're attending a Catholic school. You would know the significance of such a meaning. Why did you pick him? This means nothing. It could mean nothing, guys. It could mean everything, okay? It just, again, more than anything, demonstrates the unbelievably, unnecessarily secretive nature that surrounds this family. People exist on paper. They don't exist in photos, and then they disappear, right? You have to imagine, by the way, that Uncle Jean-Michel...
Because the dad of Brigitte Trogneux, why did she died? Because she was in an accident in a car? I don't know.
Been living in Amiens at the same time that Jean-Michel Trogneux would have been living in Amiens throughout his marriage with...
Elle peut investiguer sur cette affaire parce qu'elle n'est pas en France. Ah ouais. Non, mais déjà, rien que la TVA, rien que quand tu sors de ton taf, tu te mets à ton compte. Rien que ça, après, on prend beaucoup. La TVA, tout ça. Quand tu es salarié, tu prends beaucoup. C'est trop hypocrite. Tu n'as pas le droit de t'exprimer, tout ça. T'es fliqué parce qu'en fait, on te donne tout. La carte vitale, on te paye les soins et tout. On te donne les allocations familiales. T'es traité, mais en échange, on te flique. On te flique. Voilà. Heureusement qu'il y avait elle.
He married,
bah ouais.
totally blanking on her name. Who did Jean-Michel Trogneux marry? Veronique Drew. Yeah, they were all just in this little close community. You'd have to imagine that, right? At the same time, but who knows? They both just kind of disappear into thin air. Anyways, this is just what happens when you look into things. They debunk nothing, by the way. If you ask, hey, could you just clarify that? Can we get a photo here? They instead wait for everyone who's investigating this to make a mistake.
Ah oui, oui, non, mais moi, de toute façon, t'inquiète pas, je vais faire une vidéo, tu me suis, je vais faire une vidéo dessus. Hein. Moi, le travail, pour moi, je te dis, cash, Valmont, c'est fini. Hein. C'est fini, tout ça, faut avoir ci, faut avoir ça, faut avoir ça. Il faut se démerder, trouver son argent et payer ses factures et vivre. Voilà, t'as pas besoin de bosser pour l'État. T'as pas besoin. Par contre, tu payes, tu participes, tu payes des charges. T'as pas besoin. Oui, 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 oui. Mais c'est mieux d'être à son compte que... C'est mieux d'être à son compte que même pour travailler pour quelqu'un. Qu'est-ce que t'en penses, toi?
And then they sue people. Make a mistake while you're asking meaningful questions, and you are going to get sued if you live in France. Worse, you could be in prison. People have been imprisoned for looking into the story, arrested for looking into the story. Xavier
Par contre, c'est vrai que la justice ici est laxiste. La justice est trop laxiste ici. Mais tu vois, aux États-Unis, la justice est trop forte, mais tu peux gagner beaucoup d'argent. Je ne sais pas s'ils ont autant de TVA et de taxes là-bas. Désolée, je baille.
It is meant to drive everyone crazy, jumping through 1,000 rabbit holes. And speaking of rabbit holes, we should now discuss more thoroughly the little chubster, the little fat one, as Xavier calls him, recently presented by the media as proof that Jean-Michel exists. Listen, I want to be very clear. I have no doubt in my mind that a Jean-Michel exists in Amiens. It seems like that's just everyone's name. Everybody's Jean-Michel. So do not color me shocked.
Elle aussi, elle doit travailler pour son compte aussi. Elle aussi. C'est mieux, hein. C'est mieux. Parce que monde du travail...
found a Jean-Michel. I've already found about 6 of them. Now you're probably thinking, Candace, yeah, there's just too many Jean-Michels in every side of this family. I'm not quite sure what to trust. Well, we at least have to try to understand who this little chubby guy is, and if he is indeed the same Jean-Michel that is pictured in the initial Trogneux family photo.
C'est pas mieux, ça? Dis la vérité, c'est pas mieux? C'est mieux, hein?
First, just want to throw to some of our sponsors.
Et puis t'as tes bénéfices. T'as au moins tes bénéfices pour toi, quoi.
Is one of them with our
mais travailler avec des gens qui te disent comment faire, d'où te lever, comment t'habiller, comment être, comment te comporter, comment penser psychologiquement. Non. Tu peux tout dire sauf mon psychologique. Faut pas toucher tout ce qui est intéressant, s'il te plaît.
Confirmation. The Make America Healthy Again movement is finally here. That's why I am so excited to tell you all about Jacked Up Fitness. George and I are moving soon, and we cannot wait to have a full home gym that's going to be set up from these guys with our busy schedule. We are so looking forward to the convenience of having that full gym experience right in our own home. The Jacked Up Power Walk Pro.
Ça, c'est sa pub. Pub de trucs de gym. Nous, ça nous intéresse pas.
Even if her very active and photographed teaching years, even if she found some throughout her very active and photographed teaching years of her and Jean-Michel together, I'd be like, okay, cool. There is only one massive family reunion photo that I could find since that family photo that was taken in the 1950s in Amiens. And this photo was actually published in 1991 in a German magazine, and I'm going to show it to you. Now, you can see
the photo of the German magazine, 1991. They show the family. Okay, Brigitte now. La Brigitte. En 91, hein?
Right there, we have got Brigitte. Now, Brigitte Ozier. And missing from this photo is Jean-Michel. There's no Jean-Michel in this photo.
Yes, Jean-Michel was here. It's Brigitte. Ça se voit.
Allegedly them all getting together to celebrate the 50th wedding anniversary of the father, Jean-Georges Trogneux, and his wife, Simone. So why would you not have all of the siblings there that are alive? Doesn't that seem like quite the event to miss? Just be like a very, like, we should very easily...
Là, les parents, ils ont laissé Jean-Michel Trogneux se transformer en Brigitte. Ils ont fait, oui, papa et maman, je vais me transformer comme ça va me faire penser à Brigitte qui est morte, là. Brigitte, ma petite sœur. Peut-être la mort de sa sœur l'a marquée, hein. On ne sait pas.
That the siblings
because the dad of the sister, they were very, very marked. They very, very blood him, very safe him, very, I don't know. It was sad about a dad of our sisters because that's why she had maybe this transformation. C'est vrai, merci. Mon anglais, tu le trouves comment? Je me débrouille, hein. Merci beaucoup.
Because you don't just miss your parents' 50th in 1991. We know that Jean-Michel has never died on paper, okay? He's never died on paper. He is still alive, according to Brigitte Macron. But what he does, what he has been doing, what his career is, nobody knows. Nobody knows. We are told in one book by one journalist who found it to be very suspicious when she went out to investigate this circumstance, Emmanuel Anizan, that she was told...
Thank you very much. I try. Sometimes I'm search some words, but I try. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Toi aussi, je pense que tu peux arriver aussi. Merci de promouvoir ma chaîne. C'est pas fini, c'est que le début.
That he just plays cards with his friends. I guess he's just a private guy who never left Amiens. That's what we're supposed to believe. He never left Amiens after his divorce from Veronique Drew. Now he's just kind of like retired and playing cards in a cafe with his friends. Okay, nobody really knows what he's been up to. So with questions that were then reaching a fever pitch amongst the French public when they realized that, for whatever reason, this brother had been sort of left out of Brigitte's story, and now they're being told that, well...
Va voir mes musiques, ça t'intéresse, mais sinon reste sur les documentaires. Merci, Valmont.
Brigitte were so close that at his wedding, she signed, at his very private wedding to Veronique Drew, she signed on as the witness, and also at her wedding, he was the best man. People are going, what's going on here? Where is this person? Suddenly, the media had to start making up some answers, and the answer that they provided was, oh, a little chubby guy. As I discussed with Xavier Poussard, we are told that this guy is the extraordinarily private Jean-Michel, all grown up. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, in case you're wondering, the World Economic Forum Chinese software program says no, that is not the Jean-Michel that we are looking for, of a little boy
Donc,
in
en
the
fait,
photo. I can show you this
at
match
the
right
middle,
here.
it was
Suddenly, the
Xavier
media had to
Poussard.
start making up some
Au
answers,
milieu de
and
série
the
chill.
answer that they provided was, oh, a little chubby guy. As I discussed with...
Là, c'est Xavier Poussard. J'ai discuté avec Xavier Poussard, il nous dit que ce type est extrêmement privé. Jean-Michel Trogneux. Attends, est-ce que ce serait Jean-Michel Trogneux, là? Ah ouais, aucune idée, hein. On va reculer, puis après on va relire.
So we're supposed to believe he never left Amiens after his divorce from Veronique Drew. Now he's just kind of like retired and playing cards in a cafe with his friends. Okay, nobody really knows what he's been up to. So with
Marie Prime, non, pas vraiment. MCL Maria Prime, désolé, je vois pas qui t'es. Peut-être t'es venu sur un de mes lives, je sais pas trop. Mais en tout cas, bienvenue.
That were then reaching a fever pitch amongst the French public when they realized that, for whatever reason, this brother had been sort of left out of Brigitte's story, and now they're being told that, well, him and Brigitte were so close that at his wedding, she signed, at his very private wedding to Veronique Drew, she signed on as the witness, and also at her wedding, he was the best man. People are going, what's going on here? Where is this person? Suddenly, the media had to start making up some answers, and the answer that they provided was, oh, a little chubby guy.
Salut, Valérie.
As I discussed with Xavier Poussard, we are told that this guy is the extraordinarily private Jean-Michel, all grown up. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, in case you're wondering, the World Economic Forum Chinese software program says no, that is not the Jean-Michel that we are looking for, of a little boy in the photo. I can show you this match right here. The confidence is 54%. Now,
encore les pourcentages. Non, c'est pas Jean-Michel Trogneux. Non. Faut pas me faire avaler ça.
Just to be super clear with you guys.
It's not Jean-Michel Trogneux.
The technology doesn't want you to use two people that are wearing glasses, or glasses in general. They do caution can sometimes shade the face in a different way. But you can see here when we're showing you this, we're talking 52% confidence on the little chubby one next to him. Anyways, it would be easier, rather than having to use technology, if the Élysée Palace just came right out and said, yes, this is actually Jean-Michel Trogneux, the one you've been looking for, the same one pictured in that 1953 family photo from Amiens. It's such an easy thing to say. That's not their thing. Clarity is not their thing. Ease is not their thing. Hush, hush, be quiet, threat, sue is their thing. So instead, just to be clear, in the initial letter that they sent me, the 100-page letter of an opportunity, really, to say to me, do not publish your series. I am telling you that this Jean-Michel that you're looking for, that little boy...
Ah ouais, ils sont forts, hein. Ils ont joué le jeu de qui est-ce, rien n'est clair. Ils ont brouillé les pistes. Tout est... En fait, Xavier Poussard et ils ont essayé d'éclaircir le truc avec Candace Owens. Nous, maintenant, on comprend, maintenant. Mais il y a toujours des points d'interrogation. T'as pas tout à fait tort non plus. Il y a toujours des... Ils ont brouillé les pistes, Voilà.
And well, and they could have just provided me photos of his missing years. They decided to squander away that opportunity by instead sending me screenshots of the little chubster at the inauguration of Emmanuel Macron. This is what they sent me. This is the exact language. What's more, Jean-Michel has recently appeared in public. He attended President Macron's inauguration in 2017 and 2022. During your June 12th, 2024 appearance on Piers Morgan Uncensored, you bet Piers Morgan $100,000 that he could not find a photo of Jean-Michel Trogneux, implying that this would disprove your false claims. Below are publicly available images of Jean-Michel Trogneux from videos of President Macron's 2017 and 2022 inauguration, you will see that not only is Jean-Michel present, but also in the same frame as Brigitte Macron. The conclusive evidence that you have been seeking to debunk your claims. Okay, so this is amazing. Keep that up for a second, okay? It's amazing for a lot of reasons. It's amazing that the Élysée Palace, rather than giving us a document, a passport with things blacked out, but maybe just his name, a driver's license, anything that would be a form of ID, photos of them together growing up, because this is our problem, is sending me screenshots of an inauguration with a guy in the background. Aha, it's debunked. Jean-Michel exists. Like I said, 27 of them exists. I have no doubt that a Jean-Michel Trogneux exists somewhere in Amiens. In fact, there's probably 20 of them. But of course, they mistook me for a fool.
Mais en fait, Jean-Michel Trogneux, on sait que c'est Brigitte. Pourquoi ils le mettent sur une autre personne? C'est ça qui est pas logique. We know that Jean-Michel exists because now they said it's not Brigitte, it's another person. They are very old. It's not logic.
Made wise to their game, so to speak, names, and it's all about how you phrase the questions. It means nothing to tell me that a Jean-Michel exists, but it would mean everything if they simply spelled out an answer to a basic question about who they are claiming is Jean-Michel. So we went back to them with an exact question, so there could have been no remaining confusion. We were clear. We will publish the truth. Here is the wording that we wrote in our letter back. Because the Macrons dispute the substance of Candace's reporting and opinions, we would like to provide them with the opportunity to present their stories and to clear up any rumors in the press. As such, we offer any date and time during the months of January, February, and March of 2025 for an interview between Candace and your clients. Candace, her producer, and a videographer will fly to Europe and arrange for a translator and studio in which the Macrons can answer questions. As you know, the first remedy for a defamation plaintiff is mitigation by using available opportunities to contradict the lie or correct the error, and thereby to minimize its adverse impact on reputation. We are providing such an opportunity. To facilitate this interview, we offer the following questions in advance. So we gave them this opportunity weeks before we began this series to answer a specific question about Jean-Michel at the inauguration. And here is the question we asked. I draw your attention to number 3. Is the man you showed at President Macron's inaugurations in 2017 and 2022 the same individual pictured on the far left in the Trogneux family photograph from Amiens? Yeah, I'm awake to your game, okay? Don't tell me names. Tell me, is this the same person? And of course, you guys, we never heard back. They had the energy and the frustration to write the letter and say it's a lie, and we gave them a runway of 2 weeks to say, just give us a yes or no to this, and I promise you, okay, hand to God on my children's lives, if they had answered and said, yes, this is him, I would be reporting that information today, because I'm not interested in jumping down this rabbit hole for the purpose of spinning a conspiracy theory, okay? There is something very wrong with this family. And perhaps the biggest thing that is wrong with this family is their refusal to answer basic questions while pretending that they're being victimized by the questions at the same time.
Bah viens, on s'y met ensemble, on s'y met à deux. Bah là, déjà, on a fait les 6 épisodes, là. Là, c'est sur ma chaîne, hein. Voilà, tu peux les prendre et les mettre sur ta chaîne, si tu veux. Tu peux en refaire un mix, si tu veux, hein, je t'autorise. Hein. Je t'autorise beaucoup de choses, Valmont, mais on se rejoint. Mais, putain... je crois que Candace va le mettre à Hollywood, hein. Ouais, je pense qu'elle va le mettre à Hollywood.
It's bad faith acting. Plain and simple, bad faith acting. So, with no response from them at all, suddenly them going mum on answering these very basic yes or no questions, we decided to instead turn to try to identify the guy with the inauguration footage. What is this
screenshot? Tu peux dire que c'est Jean-Michel Trogneux. Tu peux dire que c'est Jean-Michel Trogneux, c'est un autre mec, ça. Ou alors, ils ont pris quelqu'un pour l'identifier. C'est comme le fait que P. Diddy part en prison, mais... c'est pas P. Diddy qui part en prison, c'est l'autre qui part à sa place.
They gave us in their notations a YouTube link, hours of footage from the inauguration, and we decided to scrub through it. Okay, Élysée Palace legal team, we will raise to the challenge and look through this. Maybe this there is this familial vibe we can pick up on. First thing that I should note is that in both of these inaugurations, the Jean Michel is not standing with the family for Macron's speeches, okay? Not at either inauguration. In the 2017 inauguration, here's a still. He is standing with a bunch of priests, okay? And when you watch the footage, the family is all walking together as they go down the line and say hi to people. And Laurent, that would be Brigitte's quote-unquote daughter, speaks to him very briefly. They're all saying hi. It's like you got to kind of walk through and say hi. The family is walking down, and he's greeted 2 kisses on the cheek by Emmanuel Macron, but he's not standing with his family. Maybe he showed up late, right? Maybe he just showed up too late, got ushered in. Okay.
C'est ses parents, avec David qui l'a violé.
Twice, right?
Tu embrasses le mec qui t'a
Also
sodomisé,
interesting is
frère.
that Jean-Claude, his alleged big brother, who he wasn't standing with or anything, was also present on this inauguration day. And yet Jean-Claude, at the luncheon which followed this speech, was seated at a table with his siblings. He was seated, Jean-Claude was seated with Brigitte. Here is a photo of that luncheon, okay? Not Jean-Michel, not the person they allege is Jean-Michel. For whatever reason, he was not seated with his siblings. Now that's in French, the bottom, it says...
Et là, c'est à la table Brigitte, son frère aîné Jean-Claude, à droite. Voilà. Mais il y a la traduction. Après ça doit être les parents, Françoise Nogues. C'est dommage, on voit pas.
Published, by the way, in 2020.
Ah voilà, assez proche. Lors de l'investiture d'Emmanuel Macron. Investiture.
Interestingly enough, in Paris match, and they were speaking...
Ah merde.
The Trogneux family.
Emmanuel Macron à l'Élysée.
Le
14 mai 2017. Ah, c'est quand il venait d'être élu, non? C'était ça, il venait d'être élu. Et pourtant, j'imagine que c'est they are a nice person, they are a very nice person, because in interior of the family, there are ancestors and vice.
Table with his relatives, not sitting down with his brother, not sitting down with Brigitte. And what it says down there is at the table of Brigitte, her brother, Jean-Claude, and loved ones. Okay, interesting. Maybe he needed some fresh air. Who knows? Maybe he didn't want to sit there. Maybe they've got a strange relationship. But let me tell you, it's going to get even stranger at the 2022 inauguration. Because scrubbing through the footage, I once again recognize that Jean-Michel is not standing anywhere near the family for the speech. Was he late again? I don't know, my friends. I'm going to show you this because even more awkward is the fact that when Emmanuel finishes his speech and does the walk, he goes over to the family section. Here he is. And he makes a concerted effort to kiss and hug.
Et là, il lui reste combien de temps? Il a fait jusqu'à 2017-2022. Là, il lui reste encore 2 ans, 2027. On verra ce qu'il adviendra en 2027, hein, on verra.
Alongside Brigitte, you'll see Brigitte just a pace behind him, intentionally pausing to kiss and hug all.
Et là, c'est Tiffany, c'est la fille à Brigitte Macron, autrement dit Jean-Michel Trogneux. A daughter of Jean-Michel Trogneux.
You can see them, they start leaning in, they come out. Look at
Mais ça va passer vite, arrête, ça va passer vite. Chaque année, ça passe, on est déjà en 2025 depuis 2017. Ça va passer vite,
Let's take our time here. Tefan looking so proud. Now he's not walking with anyone but Brigitte. I'm not exactly sure who that guy is, but what we're seeing here are nephews, cousins. We're able to confirm who all of these people are. This is clearly the family section. And once again, I want to be clear, it's both sides of the family that are standing in this section. It's not just the Macrons. It is also, obviously, Brigitte's family. And you're going to see that. I'm just going to let this play because it's important for you to recognize the differences here. This, by the way, in case you want to look this up yourself, is at the 43-minute mark of the inauguration. He starts going through his family. Now you're seeing Laurent, another child of Brigitte, okay, kissing her kids, and now behind you have who is supposed to be his mother.
Ouais, les enfants, je sais pas, c'est peut-être qu'il fait nom des enfants, les petits-enfants et tout ça. Tout ça dans cette famille, c'est une famille qui pue, quoi. Quoi? Non, Emmanuel Macron, il a fait 2 mandats, ils n'autorisent pas plus que 2 mandats. Non, t'as tout faux, hein. Valmont, t'as tout faux, hein. Non. La Constitution, c'est jusqu'à 2 mandats, il n'y a pas plus. C'est jusqu'à demander à la Constitution quelle pause il va revenir. Non, non, il reviendra pas. Les Français, déjà, ils en ont marre de lui. Tu crois qu'il va revenir? T'es malade ou quoi? Non, 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 non.
Dr. Françoise Nogues,
Non, non,
who
non.
spends her time helping transgendered individuals get new IDs. This is the family section.
Voilà.
Okay?
Genre, sa mère, elle aide les transgenres à... transgenres à avoir des cartes d'identité. She had transgender people. I've got identity card, sociality, sociability, professional, family, and a new family. C'est un bordel.
No question. The person they allege is Jean-Michel, for whatever reason, once again, does not want to stand with his family. Okay? You fast forward, so that again is the 43-minute mark. Then you have to fast forward all the way up to the 51-minute mark to see him finally approaching Jean-Michel. And a couple of things I'm going to point out to you. Now, this is the screenshot where the legal team had the audacity to say, in the same frame, he's in the same photo as his sister Brigitte. What they left out was that Brigitte completely ignores him. I mean, completely does not say a word to the individual that is supposed to be her brother. Let's watch this together and watch how awkward Emmanuel Macron is with this individual. So you are seeing this if you're on audio.
Alors, on voit Jean-Michel Trogneux parce que c'est pas Brigitte Macron, arrête. Elle a fait ça genre pour rendre hommage à sa sœur, Valmont. Je sais pas, moi, faut m'expliquer, hein. Les enfants... Oh putain, l'hypocrisie. Oh putain.
That's her brother. That's supposed to be Jean-Michel. Okay?
Ah, de toute façon, aux États-Unis, ils plaisantent pas. Hein. Quand c'est la justice, c'est la justice. T'as déconné, hein. Putain. T'as déconné, t'as déconné, hein. Ça, ils plaisantent pas aux États-Unis. Mais en France, il y a trop l'hypocrisie. En fait, il y a trop le genre, être gentil. Il y a trop... Ils laissent trop les... Tu vois, ils ont trop pitié, en fait. Il y a trop la pitié en France. Tu vois?
But that's supposed to be who they're trying to make us believe is her brother. Nothing said. Emmanuel, Brigitte just completely... Oh, there's the frame where they're trying to like, oh, she's right there with her brother. Says not a word, okay? You can go back and watch this and I'll make this up. Look, it just walks right by. Who would do this to their brother on Inauguration Day? Emmanuel Macron now. I feel like if I was in the presence of my brother-in-law, I'd like feel like I must go up to him first, right? Like I better go up to him first. And then Emmanuel's like, oh, okay, I have to say something. A little friendly, goodbye, and that's it. Okay, now let's pause that frame. Who's he standing with? Let's back up a little bit if you can, Mark. See that guy in the background? You want to know who he's standing with? David Rothschild. Jean-Michel was standing with David Rothschild. Well, I'm truly amazed by this. Because Jean-Michel didn't have a career in baking, in banking. Jean-Michel may have had a career in baking, but not banking, right? He's supposed to be from the family of chocolatiers. He's never left.
Non, banking, man, banking. It's baking, mais dans banking. Oui, le hasard de l'algorithme, c'est vrai. Et pourtant, je faisais pas autant de live sur YouTube. Hein.
We can't find any evidence of him having left Amiens. So what's he doing? What's his relation to David Rothschild? Why is he standing there?
Ça, il faut utiliser son intelligence pour des bonnes choses, pas pour de mauvaises choses. Ou pas être influencé par les ondes négatives aussi.
Sense of it again. I'm just a regular old person. I got nothing but street smarts. But I gotta tell you, my entire family is all the way down there.
Mais en fait, il y a David Rothschild, Jean-Michel Trogneux, parce qu'il n'y a pas de Jean Rothschild.
I've decided not to sit with them, not to stand with them, but to be by myself with security and David Rothschild. Ladies and gentlemen, what the hell is going on? What's going on?
Elle se demande parce qu'il est seul avec la sécurité de David Rothschild. Parce qu'il l'a tellement violé que c'est son compagnon, normal. Quand... Tu sais, là, ce dos, ça fait mal, hein?
Feel convinced that's a family member? No.
The ass is very bad, the ass. Fucking at the ass is very badly and very sadly. Yes, it's very hurt. It's so hurt.
Doesn't want Jean-Michel at her table. They were so close when she got married to Andre Lewis. Please, I need you to be the best man. So close when he got married to Veronique Drew. It must have been a massive family falling out.
J'espère que vous voyez bien la traduction, hein, j'espère.
even when he's at the inauguration, he doesn't stand with the family. Like, it just must have been an absolute disaster of a family falling out. And again, what do the Rothschilds have to do with Amiens? I just find this to be an incredible theme here. So what does this all mean? What does this all mean? Well, what it means is that, unfortunately, guys, I can't answer these questions for you, and neither at this moment can Xavier Poussard. But what it means is that for the first time, rather than the entire world being told by the mainstream media, being gaslit by the mainstream media to believe that there was nothing here, and Candace was having postpartum psychosis by looking into this story, now millions and millions of people worldwide are going to look into this story. Millions have watched this series. Millions are emailing. Millions are investigating. And someone somewhere knows something. Someone somewhere saw something. Someone somewhere may be able to find a photo of Jean-Michel Nogues in the archives of the medical centers that he worked at throughout his illustrious career. Someone somewhere maybe recognizes which Jean-Michel that is, okay? Someone somewhere perhaps knows the answer to the mystery of what happened to Brigitte Trogneux. Where is Brigitte Trogneux?
Ah ouais.
Was Brigitte Trogneux...
Elle a raison. Where is Brigitte Trogneux? Where is Brigitte Trogneux? Where is Brigitte Trogneux? Brigitte Trogneux, elle est morte. Personne ne cherche Brigitte Trogneux parce que c'est Brigitte Macron. Elle est morte, Brigitte Trogneux. Et pourtant, non. Ouais, Brigitte Trogneux, ouais. La vraie Brigitte Trogneux, elle est morte. C'est juste la fausse Brigitte Trogneux, tout simplement.
Did Brigitte Trogneux die young after having children? I don't know the answers to these questions. It's taken us...
Elle essaie de dire que oui, Brigitte Trogneux, she died young after she had got children. Bah ouais.
Xavier Poussard, pardon. And people like Natasha Ray, almost a decade of their lives to get us to this point. Many of them giving up their freedoms. Natasha Ray has been in and out with a cancer diagnosis, being tortured by the Trogneux mafia, as I would describe it.
Et puis elle, tu savais vaguement qu'elle, ils lui ont sucré ses allocs. Tu sais qu'elle devait payer un loyer, elle a pas pu, ses propriétaires l'ont harcelée, puis après, il fallait qu'elle prête de l'argent. Elle est dans la merde, hein. Ouais. Bon, Faritas. Force à toi.
Acts like a mafia when you start prying into this. We will legally abuse you if you start asking these questions.
Après, ça va pas tarder, moi aussi, je vais le manger aussi. Monter la vidéo.
They have given up a decade of their lives to researching this. And now we have the ability to crack this wide open. And so if you have information about this family, maybe you're somebody sitting in Algeria. And you're going, yeah, no, I remember him. Yeah, what goes on in Algeria at this time? Maybe you went to school with Jean-Michel.
C'est un monsieur qui faisait, tu sais, je regarde beaucoup Facebook Reel, et c'est un monsieur qui disait aussi que on a même fait une cagnotte pour elle parce qu'elle a du mal à payer son loyer. Donc du coup, apparemment, dernièrement, elle s'exile en Russie. C'est trop galère pour elle. Parce que c'est Macron, c'est Brigitte Macron. Et tu sais que Brigitte Macron, donc, elle l'a sauté, tu vois. Et puis, pas longtemps, elle mixe à l'Élysée. Tu sais, ils font la fête à l'Élysée, ils amènent des gays, ils font la fête. Il y a des rappeurs qui chantent. Ah ouais, ils sont...
You are in the French military,
ils font la fête, hein, là. Hein. Faut pas croire.
You see something strange about access to his files because there is a file. There is a military file that is being locked down as it pertains to Jean-Michel Trogneux. Again, something that is supposed to be made available to the public that they won't make available. And they just want to gaslight us about that. He's just so private. So private, but he does go to the inauguration, but so private he doesn't want to stand with the family or be involved with them. He'd rather stand with...
D'ailleurs, la pauvre, faut lui verser des sous, hein. Faut lui verser des sous parce qu'elle est en galère. Elle s'exile en Russie. Ah ouais, parce que c'est fini pour elle, quoi. Il faut faire tomber ce couple. C'est tout.
Help me out, guys. You have information, please send it to info@candiceowens.com. It is my instinct. Yes, I agree with those of you that are commenting right now that we are looking.
Dans la vie, il faut être bien, il faut suivre son intuition. Quand vous n'êtes pas bien quelque part, il faut partir. Et elle a bien fait.
Incest. That is what in my gut feels. It has to be a secret so big that it would make them react in this way because it is a type of violence to treat journalists like this. It is a kind of emotional violence to do these sorts of things, and they do it as though they know advice is nice,
Ouais, elle a
but
bien fait.
incest
Bravo à Natacha Ray, hein. Bravo à Natacha Ray. Franchement, si tu peux même aller sur pétition, je verrai si je peux ajouter un peu de sous parce qu'elle mérite. Bravo d'avoir soulevé tout ça parce que c'est la République qui est en jeu, quoi. La République et le peuple français. Et le monde aussi.
and things should be kept within the family. Anyways, you guys, before I get into answering some of your questions, I want to
Je sais pas
remind
si...
you about our last sponsor, Nimi Skincare.
Ouais,
You
dernier
guys
sponsor. Elle fait son sponsor, Mini Cares. Puis je rêve de partenariat, je te mens pas, hein.
brought up and just thought, okay, we want to keep this series moving. You got to do that deep dive. I mean, even
Ouais,
today,
t'as vu,
I'm
cette
telling you
série, elle
about
va avancer. Mais je pense que ça, c'était le dernier épisode. Candace, je pense que j'ai vu ses prochaines vidéos, qu'elle allait publier ça sur Hollywood. Donc, on verra, on verra bien. En tout cas, c'était une très belle affaire. J'étais contente de travailler sur ça. Quand je suis tombée sur ça, sur Facebook, lui, j'ai vu qu'il y avait une de mes collègues qui travaillait aussi. Je me suis dit, allez, pourquoi pas, je vais me faire une série, ça m'a m'occuper. Et ça m'a vraiment fait plaisir. J'ai appris beaucoup de choses. Et en tout cas, là, on va terminer la vidéo, puis je vais faire une conclusion.
we hadn't even gotten to that point. And to see the success of this book, people that are already asking for rights to it in different
Ah oui, Valmont,
languages.
si tu veux, j'ai fait des lives sur X. Tu verras, X, c'est Siri Adjara aussi, X. J'ai fait des lives aussi sur mon autobiographie, ou même sur YouTube, tu peux regarder Siri Book. Tu regarderas, j'ai fait des livres aussi sur ma vie, j'ai fait des lives sur X que je dois poster aussi. Donc si ça t'intéresse, si jamais. J'ai pas mal de choses.
Getting emails on behalf of Xavier that are coming in. I'm just so happy for him because, like I said, his family, what a sacrifice. You just
Elle
don't
reçoit
see
des mails de
journalists
Xavier Poussard pour traduire les livres, il me semble.
that anymore who are willing to give up and fundamentally alter their lives to tell a truth and to
Motivation,
stand up
ouais,
against
Valmont,
true
merci.
power, true systemic power.
Vraiment,
and
j'étais
abuse.
faritas.
Nadia
Les
is
laisse
giving
pas
us
brûler.
tons of vomit
Faut suivre son
emojis.
instinct, c'est
Just
tout.
speaking about the topic of incest, we are right there with you, and it is unbelievable to hear someone just say that on stage and admit that freely. Ali says, Candace, the media poisoned my mind against you for so long. I am truly sorry, but I am here now and staying because you are one of the most elegant and inspirational people I've ever heard. Thank you for always... That would be amazing. All right, guys, getting into some of your questions that are coming in right now, which I hope I'm equipped to answer. This person writes, just got my Becoming Brigitte book in today. I can't wait to dive in. Thank you and your team for all of the great work that you guys do. Honestly, guys, this series, podcast form, is one fraction of the work that Xavier Poussard has done and has put into his book. Way more pedo criminals that I could have brought up, and just thought, okay, we want to keep this series moving. You got to do that deep dive. I mean, even today, me telling you about the uncle, we hadn't even gotten to that point. And to see the success of this book, people that are already asking for rights to it in different languages. I'm getting emails on behalf of Xavier that are coming in. I'm just so happy for him because, like I said, his family, what a sacrifice. You just don't see journalists like that anymore who are willing to give up and fundamentally alter their lives to tell a truth and to stand up against true power, true systemic power and abuse. Nadia is giving us tons of vomit emojis, just speaking about the topic of incest. We are right there with you, and it is unbelievable to hear someone just say that on stage and admit that freely. Ali says, Candace, the media poisoned my mind against you for so long. I am truly sorry, but I am here now and staying because you are one of the most elegant and inspirational people I've ever heard. Thank you for always speaking truth. Totally forgiven. I know so many people have heard lies about me. Last year, when I began looking into this story, it seems to be one of the points where everything turned around and they just started trying to tell people that I was literally Adolf Hitler. Like, that is the storyline. A couple of weeks ago, right before we started this story, they then came out and tried to convince the public that I was inspiring school shootings. I mean, it has been insane to see what the media will do to someone when they inch closer to a truth. And I think all of us wake up at a different moment and begin to question our relationship with the media. Mine's happened a little earlier than yours, Ali, but I had that moment too. I believed everything that I read because it almost... you would be crazy to think that the media is actually protecting evil and attacking good. But that is the circumstance that we find ourselves in today. We recognize that, and it's a beautiful thing to wake up to it, actually, and to have the humility to admit that you are wrong. Not a lot of people have the humility. They just go, oh, I've said this for years, so I have to just keep saying the thing. So welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Waves just writes, you're amazing. Thank you guys for these compliments. I need them today. I was so tired today. You have these days when you're pregnant where you're just like, I just can't do it. And I was having that kind of a morning, and now I feel great and amazing. Mikkel writes, Friday guesses, fake moon landing, Manson murders, F scene, MLK. Okay, so I have announced that tomorrow I will be announcing my next series, and it's a big one. We're not going to start it tomorrow, but I'm going to announce it tomorrow, so you're not going to want to miss Friday's episode. And she's guessing moon landing, Manson murder.
Voilà, donc là, on va arrêter là. Ça m'a fait un plaisir de faire un live. Ça m'a fait beaucoup plaisir de faire un live à propos de Candace Owens. Donc, franchement, j'ai été vraiment ravie. Bon, j'ai vu que, honnêtement, qu'une collègue a fait ça, je fais. D'habitude, je fais pas des choses comme ça, mais il m'arrive de faire des lives. D'habitude, je faisais des lives de mon book sur X, je faisais d'autres lives sur l'islam et parler d'autres choses comme de la géopolitique. Franchement, j'adore. À part la musique, j'adore parler de géopolitique. Il faudra d'autres lives sur un autre sujet, un sujet qui m'intéresse, ou que je tombe sur le sujet d'un collègue ou quoi. J'ai bien aimé la chaîne de Candace Owens et moi, je suis pas encore sponsorisée, mais je serai bientôt sponsorisée. Maintenant, ce que j'ai décidé, c'est gonfler ma chaîne. Je vais la gonfler, et je vais travailler à mon compte. Voilà, j'arrête le monde du travail parce que c'est épuisant, Voilà, j'arrête tout ça. En tout cas, on a découvert beaucoup de choses et vive la République, vive la France et sans les Macron. Allez, maintenant, je vais vous laisser et à très bientôt. Cette vidéo sera diffusée ce soir. Ouais, ce soir à 20h. 20h, je la diffuserai. Allez, à ciao, bonsoir. Bisous, bisous.